The next slide talks about what is the most important factor. And I found this to be a particularly interesting slide. One, because I'm very angry that air pollution is not a bigger issue. If we can please bring up the next slide. But also the fact that the Modi factor, and here, because you've had a continuous tracker, in the beginning of the month, Modi was a little over 7%. The number slightly come down. Only 6.6% people say that Modi is a big factor or an important factor for them in the assembly election. So the Delhi voter is very clearly distinguishing between Lok Sabha and this election. And then look at the rest. It's all very fragmented. There is no one big overwhelming issue, which is why this election is feeling a bit phika, feeling a bit sort of thaka hua. I don't know. How do you look at these numbers?
There is no umbrella issue. There is no umbrella issue whatsoever.
Correct.
In fact, even among when we were tracking the female voters, the partial data that we got, we thought that that the schemes launched for the females, the 2100, 2400, 2500 schemes, they would at least take the lion's share of this sentiment that where exactly it's going. It is not. Yes, it is important for about 20% females in Delhi. But it's not that as if the female scheme has taken over the entire thing, and so it is a fragmented of sort. There is no narrative. The two narratives earlier, first narrative was the anti-corruption, thing when 13 and 14, 15 election happened. I guess that 2020 election had the larger narrative of freebies and the continuation of that. Now that the Prime Minister has said we'll continue the freebies, they will give 2100, we will give 2500. So it's a much more level playing field. But unfortunately, it also tells us that there is no big narrative of sort among the people, and these parties have actually failed in making something which to pin down upon. That pinning down is not happening. So that also tells us, Barkha, that this could be a very hyper-local election of a kind of municipality of sorts, because like water management is an issue in one seat, electricity is another one, roads are in the third one, and something else in the fourth one. And eventually you realize that, okay, every seat is going on their own. And if you add in the performance of the sitting MLAs, if you look into the verbatims of different reports, I do check on the interviews that are being taken by our researchers, and also take a debriefing on what qualitative options they have to say, and they come up with zillion kind of thing with the anger against the sitting MLAs as well. कुछ नहीं किया है, पानी देखिए काला पानी आ रहा है, नहीं बहुत अच्छा किया है, नहीं कुछ नहीं हुआ, and those kind of things are so fractionalized in that way that it is very difficult, very, very difficult to see a interweaving theme of sort, barring that one theme that, okay, freebies deliver hui hain, or there used to be a kind of a fear factor among a section of swing voters that BJP aa jayegi to ye khatam kar degi bijli pani wala. Now that PM has said that we will continue, even that part is gone. So that fear theme is also not there. Whatever is there probably is just that, okay, Kejriwal might be seen as a person who will deliver for 48, 47% people, and they would, whatever they feel like, they will go out and vote. And Aam Aadmi Party, by and large, I can say, is pretty structured in that way in their county political management. They are good. They are not that bad. But earlier 2-3 elections, they were run by volunteers. I am told that they are no more volunteers, they are paid workers. Now, the difference being a volunteer and a paid worker is that eventually on that day, they may work, no doubt about that. But the energy level or enthusiasm level of a volunteer, Barkha, is a different game altogether. And that is something which delivered Haryana and Maharashtra to the BJP, even Jammu to the BJP. And if RSS goes on and that line, then they might get an upswing of the same kind of enthusiasm which Aam Aadmi Party got benefited in 15 election and maybe in 20 election of the enthusiasm of volunteers. So it's a hyper-localized election. and eventually it would be the bench strength, the organizational strength, how relative turnout of different vote support bases, कितनी ताकत उस दिन पोलिंग वाले दिन लगेगी, that would be an interesting factor to observe, and that will decide where it's going.